We are live. Good
Yes.
afternoon, Mark Gassert.
Hey, what's up, Tom?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. It is Monday, another magnificent Monday,
Yeah. Well, tonight we're going to be talking a little bit of Elevate Your Profits. Why don't you share with the audience what we do and why we do it?
Sure.
And we'll do our little rollout, and we'll be back and introduce our fabulous guest that we have tonight. So
Tremendous. Hey, elevate your profits. It's not just about business, although we do advocate that. We're for anybody that's out there that has their own business, solopreneur, entrepreneur, and it's all about not just the dollars and cents. We have people out there that have causes, professions, vocations, and that's why we bring them on here to, enlighten everybody as to what's going out in the real world. And tonight, I'm very excited to have your wife on here since we're talking about massage therapy and what's going on in that idiom. And, we just touched briefly here how everybody's inundated with technology these days. We all are. And here we are doing this. And it all started because of COVID, that craziness. I'm sorry I said the C word, but hopefully I won't get shut down. But, and some people are still hiding behind it. But it's fun now for me. Yesterday I umpired, so I was out there and, actually Saturday did 6 games. And it's always fun to watch the parents. There's a lot of intensity out there these days. I don't know if it has to do with our economic situation. I do know there are things going on out there. So the kids are having fun, and that's the most important thing. But other than that, great weekend.
Well, Mark, what we're going to do is we're going to do our little rollout, and we'll be right back. We'll make the introduction to Kathy. Hold tight. I can get excited and let that thing loop around a few times. But hey, tonight it's a special person in my life I want to introduce tonight, my beautiful wife, Kathleen. And tonight we're going to be talking about something that's she's applied in her businesses for the last, Kath, correct me if I got this wrong, 30 some years, right?
That's correct, Tom. Yeah.
Yes. And we're going to start here in a moment. You'll tell your story, why you're in business for yourself, what you do, your mission and purpose. And Mark and I will ask questions from time to time. But tonight's topic is really about why a business should have multiple streams of income. And Kathy's been a massage therapist in the massage industry for how many years now, Kath?
32 years. Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty demanding industry by itself, just physically, emotionally, the things you got to go through. And she recognized early on that she didn't want to leave that industry because she got burnt out, injured, or whatever. What can she do to help support that industry long term? So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce my beautiful wife, friend, colleague, lover, everything else in between. So Kathleen, why don't you share a little bit about your story, where you're from, when you got, why you're in business for yourself, what you do, and why you do it. We'll go from there.
All right. Well, Mark, it's always good to see you again. I see Tom every day. So, Tom, it's good to see you too. But always enjoy you, Mark.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And maybe someday I'll get you to watch you
umpire. Maybe it'll come out your way. I know Tom doesn't dance before we get into this, but Monday night is our dance night. We go to class, and then that was the other thing that was a no because they pushed the games back, so I didn't get home till late. So that kind of killed our Saturday night dance night. That's something Gina and I do together now, so it's good. As she said to me once, and then I'll let you go. I like the dancing because we don't argue. You can't.
What does she say when you step on her foot?
I haven't. I really haven't.
Mm,
Knock on wood. So far,
yeah.
I have not done that.
Mhm.
So
Well, I got a
What
story
kind?
around.
What I do have a question for you, and then we'll get into this. What kind
sure,
of dance, Mark?
the name of the group is it's called the Country Western Social Club, but it's not just country music. They teach you West Coast swing, East Coast swing, waltz. Um,
Oh.
Yeah, and then if you want a two-step, we're still trying to figure that out. But we enjoy doing some of the other dances that they have. Nightclub, that's
Mm,
another thing we're working
mhm,
on this week.
mhm.
Last week we missed it, so it makes you feel like, as I kiddingly say, a Kentucky Fried Idiot, because there are things they're doing, but it's when you go to dance socially, you try and implement some things. You're not going to
Mhm,
remember everything, but that's the
mhm,
whole point. And I think we've gone by leaps and bounds where we started from where we're at now doing this.
mhm,
Because boy, I
mhm,
felt really intimidated in that class, because I was like looking at everybody. It's like anything else, like you're going to share with us.
mhm,
I'm like, man, there's no way I'm going to do this stuff. But it comes around. You get there.
mhm. Yeah. You didn't quit, did you, Mark?
No, ma'am. No,
Yeah,
I'm
you
still.
didn't
And you
quit.
know what? I tell them I'm probably your worst guy here in the class. I don't know if I am, but it's I always have a question. But I'm out there doing it, and that's the important thing. You just
Yeah.
keep coming back. You keep coming back, and then when you get out there socially, you don't even think about it. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
we're going to do what we do, and we're not going to compete with anybody out here. You know.
Yeah.
So, and then you enjoy it.
I do have a question for you, Mark. Did you learn how to polka?
Well, I kind of already know how to do that. I grew up in Pennsylvania, but
Mm,
yes, they even taught that. They have taught, yes, they have. It's to country music. I didn't realize there were some songs they played, and I said, okay, that's a polka. Okay, so yeah, it's a
mm.
little bit different than what you see in Bavarian or German type demeanor, but yeah, I mean they do. So
Mhm.
Well, when
Mm.
you get out to Wisconsin, we'll have to go out and do some
I know
polka
one of
dancing.
those beer fest or something. Yeah.
I'll be on the sidelines with the beer. You two
Oh, I
can
knew
do
that. Yeah.
you. The story about me not poking dancing. It was a long time ago in Albuquerque. We went to an Oktoberfest type thing,
Uh-huh.
and she's going to teach me how to polka. And I stepped on her toe and ripped her
Oh wow.
toenail off. So I'm
Mhm.
reluctant to dance anymore.
Oh
So
wow. Oh come
that,
on.
that that's why I asked, "Hey, do you ever step on your wife's toe?" I have, and
No,
it's
I
not.
haven't. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm a little intimidated. I'm worried about hurting her when I dance. So, but
Mhm.
anyway, but anyway, Kath, we're here
Yeah.
tonight to talk about you and what you do.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We kind of digress there.
No, it was great. You know why? Because what you spoke of, Mark, was, and at the end, never quitting, and you just keeping on, right? You just do it. And it reminded me, no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's dancing, skiing,
Hmm.
solopreneur, running a business, trying to get a private practice going,
Right.
anything, it's
Right.
really about what you shared too. And and like that, wherever you go, there you are.
Right.
Those disciplines, that mindset that you
Hmm.
carry with you, whether it's dancing or umpiring, right?
Well, there's
Or
sometimes you
whatever.
feel like
It's,
quitting on umpiring now when you get yelled at a lot, but I don't even now. I'm so oblivious to it. But yeah, there's
yeah,
another one for you. I've seen.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
always, and what you're going to share with us tonight is, I always try and put myself in that newer person's position, because they're scared to death. If it's
Yeah.
their first year, or it could even be their first game, second game. I've had people like that. I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
okay, I
Yeah.
remember how I felt. Do you remember,
Yeah.
Mark? I'll say, yeah, you just got to like really, spell everything out here.
Mhm. Being sensitive, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and remembering what it was like. Um, that's a good one too with our topic tonight. being sensitive and remembering what it was like starting out, no
Right. Look
matter
what
what it
Tom
was.
knows. Yeah, like what he knows financially. I mean,
Mhm,
that can be intimidating to some people, but to me, it's like, hey, I like listening to it, pick up some ideas from it. But some
mhm.
people really get intimidated, and I
Yeah.
don't. I just realize, hey, I don't know it all, and I've just accepted it. I think a
Mhm,
long time ago, I checked my ego at the front door, Kathy, and
mm,
just said, "Hey, I'm here to learn and have fun." That's what I say.
mhm,
Like tonight when I go to dance, they said, "Here he comes." I'm saying, "Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, but yeah, I'm here."
mhm,
And
mhm,
break me down and build me
mhm.
back up again.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Mark. And I mean, it's a great segue again to what we're talking about tonight. Letting your ego at the door and not thinking we know it all, right? And
Yeah.
always willing to learn, always willing to learn. Yeah, this has been great. Well, there you go, audience. We are complete.
Oh my. Mm,
So, Tom, you asked me a couple questions in the beginning, and one of them before I get into myself and my vocational background, you says, "Well, I'm in business for myself." And whenever anybody asks me that, it's really simple because I don't want to work for anyone else. I mean, it's really for me that clear. I really don't want to work for anyone else. And that's been with me for many, many, many years.
right.
And that's part of my why. So, a little bit about myself and my background, and then we'll get into, you know, elevate your profits. And um, I've been in the industry of massage therapy and body work for about 32 years. And within my profession, as Tom said, it's my profession is high burnout. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. That's part of my why.
Wow.
Recognizing that and feeling sad and sensitive to that because people quit on themselves way too early. Mark, imagine if you quit on yourself,
Oh
right?
wow.
Dancing.
Ugh,
You wouldn't be heading out the door tonight going to dance and having some fun with your wife, right?
no, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah. So my career has been filled with everything: success, failure, fear, doubt, wanting to quit, all of it. And 32 years later, I'm still here. And so this is part of my story. I'm a massage therapist, a body centered practitioner. So I work with the emotional body. I'm a teacher. I have my own continuing education business called Ethical Dimensions. I teach ethics, but not in your kind of, for lack of better words, and many people's perspective on ethics is boring and dry and just tell me what to do and give me a test and let me pass kind of thing. And that's not my approach to ethics. My approach to ethics is really a study of self and how one shows up in the therapeutic relationship, really, no matter what you're doing, whether it's massage, energy work, chiropractic work, acupuncture work, chaplaincy, whatever it is. I just happen to be in the massage therapy bodywork field. So I come from that expertise and context. So, ethical dimensions. I have several courses that I teach around transformational ethics.
Right.
I'm using ethics, approaching ethics as a transformation, a study and transformation of self, so we can really serve um, an empowering, wise, and skillful way. And I'm a mentor. I mentor
I'm giving
practitioners
you
and
a plug right
professionals.
there. Yeah, when we're
What?
getting you're like another sage. That's why I said listen to the wisdom from Kathy Ginn. So,
Mm,
I love to listen to you talk. So,
thank you, Mark. Thank you. And I'm an author. I
mm,
wrote a book, and this is going to be part of what I'll be sharing later too on MSI's The Soul of Ethical Service.
that's
I
awesome.
never took a writing course, and I'm sharing this with you because as we journey through life, we think, wow, I need education on that, or I need this, or I need that, and I need more. We spend so much of our life getting instead of being, and recognizing some of our unique God-given talents and gifts already. And that was myself with writing. I started writing maybe 25, 30 years ago.
Wow.
Journaling. I go on a retreat for 10 days of solitude and silence. I've been doing that for 20 years, and I write. So poetry and all of that. So I'm like, and people started recognizing my writing, and my desire was to write a book. And so finally last year, after 10 years, and again, I share this with your audience because you can never quit on yourself. Whether it takes 1 week to accomplish what you set out to do or years, if it's in you and in your heart and soul, it's there for a reason. It's there for a reason. And it's the timing is not always ours. So I'm an author and I'm an end-of-life doula. So I work with the dying as a massage therapist and an end-of-life doula. And I share that with you because working with the dying is part of my journey and part of what I teach others. I love working with the dying because it really teaches me how to live. Because what happens at end of life, at least in my experience, is it's pretty amazing at times. And the awakening that people have at end of life, and or the regrets, and many, many things. So, and currently I'm in the process of starting another business with a colleague of mine called New Business Dimensions. And it's framed around 5 dimensions or a 5-pointed star. And the whole mission and purpose of this is to help people not quit on themselves, especially within my profession of massage therapy and body work. So it's framed around really how to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, can I share some ideas to build on?
Mm-hmm.
When we used to live out near Madison, you were concerned about the massage industry, the lack of business acumen or the relationship massage therapists have with business and making money. And that started your journey of how can you help these gifts. These people you have a gift, and I know you have a gift. I've experienced it. I've heard the testimonies from your clients, and it's a gift that we don't want to lose. And the reason people get out of the industry is usually it's before the burnout. It's usually because they're not making enough money to support themselves. So I remember us going to UW, Wisconsin
Madison.
Small Business Administration and putting together a program, or starting to put together a program, how to help this industry change its reference to business. And that sort of started it back. How many years ago was that?
Yeah. Boy, that was 14 years ago.
Yeah. So the idea was sparked way back then. Today it's coming about with you and Suzanne Ecker with New Business Dimensions. And it's all about helping practitioners understand to keep their gift in the marketplace is understand how to win with business, how to make money, how to keep from having burnout, all those things. So why don't you share a little bit about some of the things you've done? Because a lot of businesses, people they're one-legged. They're very good at one particular thing. Something happens to themselves or the environment they're in, the economy, whatever the case may be, and suddenly they find themselves out of business. They can't apply their gift because of something that's outside their control. What did you see early on that why you decided that you knew you needed to have more sources of income?
That's a great question, Tom. This was probably 25 years ago, and I remember it almost vividly. I thought, wow, I'm going to have to figure out how to make or create additional income for myself, because what I was facing was making money one way, and that was by seeing clients. And that would limit my income. And I just knew, I said, this is not going to work for me, because that destroys freedom. And that's one of my whys too, is freedom. Freedom of owning my own business, freedom of making the money that I desired to make, just simply freedom. So with that said, I thought, well, what can I do to make money besides on the table, seeing clients? And listening to your heart, listening to your gut, listening to your intuition, and trusting it. And I could talk about that for an hour, because I live with a lot of self-doubt and a lot of fear. But my why was bigger than both of them, because I didn't want to work for anybody else, and I wanted to do what I love to do and make money at it. And so I started teaching. Way back when I started teaching, I wasn't a teacher. I wasn't educated in teaching, and I applied for a teaching position at a massage school, and not knowing what I could teach, because I'm not a science gal. And all of a sudden, the person that interviewed me says, well, how about ethics? And I said, sure. And that opened a gigantic door for my vocation and really for my life. So that was the beginning of MSIs, is getting a teaching position. And that led me to multiple teaching positions. And then about probably 3 years, maybe 4 years later, I thought, wow, I really love this topic. I think I can become a continuing education provider and teach to my colleagues, not just students, beginning students. And so that's when I created my own continuing education business called Ethical Dimensions, and found out that, wow, I love this, and I can make money at this, and I'm serving others with the gifts I've been given. And I've been doing it ever since. And that was way back in probably 2002.
Wow.
2002. That has led me to teaching nationally, teaching locally, certainly writing my book on all my experiences. I was never one for product, until about 10 years ago, maybe. Never sold product. Teaching was, and then mentoring. Those were my multiple sources of income. And I'm just pausing here to make sure I stay on track. Mark, you mentioned COVID, so I'm going to say that word too. So if they shut us down, I guess they'll shut us down. But another thing with teaching, I was all live, and I thought I'll never go online. This is too much of an intimate, engaging topic, ethics, to go online with.
Right.
And COVID hit. And we know what that did to many things, to including my education platform, my live education platform. So again, this is mindset, determination, and remembering your why. I immediately got on the phone with our national certification board.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say immediately, I mean immediately. When I knew that schools were being shut down, my continuing education would not be allowed to teach in person, I got on the phone and said, I need my classes to be online. What do I need to do? Gave me instructions. I did it. And within a couple of weeks, I was up and running online. So there's going to be challenges, and we all know that. If we've lived this life, right, we know there's challenges to being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, whatever it is.
Can I interject something here, Kath?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
You said something there. You recognize a situation and you immediately made a decision. That's a
Yeah.
key element. When you know your purpose and why, you know that that's a principle that you didn't have to think about it. You knew what you had to do, is you made a decision. And that's a key principle of anything you do, is
Yes.
take action, and you do. And that's something you teach and you demonstrate. The can do, put some urgency in things, and roll up your sleeve and get to work. You're that type of gal, and I appreciate the example you give me daily. So
Thank you, Tom. You know, that saying, when one door closes, there's usually another one or multiple that open. And that trusting, that's a big word for me, has been part of my journey. A big part of my journey is to trust many things in life, to including the closed doors. And Tom, you said it, and I think, Mark, you mentioned it earlier, is really knowing your why. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
And I feel sad for people that work in a job or work in a place where they dread Mondays, right? And can't wait for Fridays by the time it's Tuesday afternoon already. I know many people like that. And this is part of my mission and my passion. It's like, you don't have to live life like that. You can truly do what you love to do, whatever it is, whatever it is. So yeah, I went online, and that has opened multiple doors for me. I get to serve more people. They can live in Alabama or Georgia or wherever, and I can still teach. Whereas if I was still in the box of online, I couldn't have done that. So trust the closed doors. And then I moved into product. I went into selling CBD to my clients. I believed in it. It was a great product, and that brought me extra income. And then I moved into another product line called ASEA, which is phenomenal, that I use with my clients, cell signaling supplement. So when I talk about you guys elevate your profits, right? And me, adjunct therapies, multiple sources of income, it's crucial. It's crucial in business, especially the business that I'm in, where we only see one person at a time, which limits our income. Yeah.
But
go ahead, Mark.
I do have to ask this question, because the owner of our company has been selling for 54 years. And they interviewed him one day and asked him what's changed. And he kind of laughed. But, I'm not going to tell you the answers, but you can imagine. How has your industry changed? Like, we know you went through some hiccups along the way 2 years ago, but when you started to now, would you say it's easier? Would you say it's more difficult? Or would you say it's the same? Or is there really that much of a difference? I mean,
boy, Mark, that's a great question. And I have these conversations with colleagues quite often, especially colleagues
when you started, you didn't have all these tools and knowledge, did you? I mean, no. I'm just asking.
Okay. Not at all. Not at all. And so I want to pause a moment and make sure I know what you're asking me. You mean the industry as a whole? How has that changed? Is that what you're asking?
Has it changed? Like, yes, from when you first started to?
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I think many, and I don't need to get into all of them, being an elder in this profession, usually an elder, I consider at least 15, 20 years or more.
Sure.
In this profession. And there aren't a whole lot of us, really.
I was going to say, so you're really a rarity at 15 plus years, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do people get out after a year, 3 years? And I'm just asking.
Usually 3 to 4 years. If they can last that long, they got a good start. But what happens in our industry, education has changed. Okay.
Right.
Education has changed. And it's kind of like other education, teaching to a test. I'm not saying all and every, I'm just a general.
Gotcha.
The elders in our profession, one of our passions and missions is to keep the soul of our profession alive. And what does that really mean? That yes, it is a business, but it's a business that serves human beings. So, and a lot of spas. I mean, back when I started, there were not a whole lot of spas that hired 20 massage therapists at a time. So that has grown immensely. So you have these therapists that are doing anywhere between 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 massages a day.
Oh, wow.
Now, one cannot keep that up. Okay. I'm not downing with that. But here we are. Elevate your profit. How to have longevity in this profession. It's not doing 7, 8 massages a day for 20 years. You know, I did when I first started out 5 a day, 6 days a week, but I was 30 some years younger than I am. And I had a mission. I was driven to create my own practice and make it work. So I believe the industry has changed quite immensely around education, around opportunity. I think many therapists that entered long ago were solopreneurs. I really do, and now many graduate and get a job, which they didn't want in the first place. They really wanted to work for themselves. But what we don't teach, and I guess this is really getting to your question, Mark, is how to be an entrepreneur in this profession. Students get out of school, they're 500, 800, 1,200 hours and lack a lot of entrepreneur skills. Number one, mindset, right? Some of the things we're talking about. And that is part of the reason Suzanne and I have created New Business Dimensions, is to really get to the heart and soul of an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, and offer them guidance, mentorship, and the confidence and know-how to never quit on yourself, no matter what.
Right.
No matter what. But it's not offered in your basic training, so to speak, in school. And that's why I always think we should have a secondary education system in our profession to teach the things toward entrepreneurs, toward entrepreneurs.
I just want to acknowledge we've got some people making some comments on YouTube. I just want to thank everybody for making any comments. You have any questions, don't hesitate to put them up there. Kathy will be glad to address them. But we just want to say, share this out, because we never know who we're going to touch and make a difference in somebody's life. So with that all said, thank you very much. Believe in yourself from YouTube. Greetings and salutation, Tom, Kathy, and Mark. Thank you for joining in tonight. So we appreciate it much.
Yeah.
So just want to acknowledge our audience out there. So
there are people hopping on here saying hello. So and guess who's back? That masked man, Robert Brooker, is going to. I know he's on here on the YouTube channel. I'm checking him out. So, yeah.
Kath, can I going back to the multiple streams of income?
Yes.
I think what your approach is what can be applied to no matter what type of business. You know what your core gift is, your core talent. When you looking at multiple streams of income, you don't have to go in opposite directions to do that. Find those things that I call running parallel. You got your main lane, you got 3 lanes, you're working your main lane, but as conditions change or situations change, like COVID or whatever the case may be, you can just transfer and move without losing a whole lot of momentum, because you already got I call it running parallels. Is that what everything I've witnessed? That's what you've done. It runs parallel to your main cause and purpose, and I think that's a message. That are hearing this. If you have a business, find those things that will run parallel. They'll support and edify your gifts.
Yeah.
And you open up new markets. So we got some more comments coming in.
I had to highlight that one, and that came from Robert. He said, "I hope your students realize the value of what you're offering." So thank you, Robert. But yeah,
thank you, Robert.
Do they, Kathy? I mean, do they understand?
Yeah, the ones that, yes, they do. I really, the ones that I have been with for years, they do.
I would like to, give a testimonial to that as well. I've been around Kathy and her students at different events, and it's amazing how they come back up and they're grateful for what she's been teaching because of who she is and what she's done. She's got some very loyal people out there that when she speaks, they take notice because she's the living example of how to succeed in this industry more than just being a great therapist. She does other things to support them and their paths as well. So she has some amazing following and credibility because she's coming from where we all should be in our business, from the heart and knowing why we do what we do. And I think that's the key. So no matter what your business is out there, she mentioned, know your why, and then align yourself with those things to support your why, your mission and cause, your gift. And everybody has a gift that can take to the marketplace in business. That could be somebody that fixes cars. That could be somebody that sells real estate or whatever the case may be. Know your why and align yourself with what I call adjunct opportunities to support. It's always bringing more value to your customer. If you can do that and find those things. Kathy was adverse to having product in her practice for years until we were introduced to CBD when it came legal here in Wisconsin. We did our due diligence, recognized the value we could do for our customers. We instituted that with our clients, and the same thing happened with the ASEA when we were introduced to it. And so it runs right in parallel to what she does as a therapist. So that's what I wanted just to elaborate on. Any comment there, Kath or Mark?
Yeah, Tom, I would just, what you've just shared is brilliant. The running parallel is so important. You have, most people have a main gig, so to speak, a main offering. And then the MSIs, the adjunct services, just really are parallel to the main offering, right? And it can even be writing. I mean, massage and writing are so far apart, and yet they're like this. If you know what I'm saying, right? What I do with my massage clients, what does writing have to do with it? But I wrote a book in the context and under the umbrella of my profession, how to serve your clients. But, can I just share something real quick? I think, Tom, you said something, and I think Mark and the three of us were talking before we went on live. And I know this is about elevating your profits and being a solopreneur and entrepreneur and, MSIs and adjunct spokes to your wheel of vocation. But on the other side of that coin, too, is in the why and some of the things that prevent a person from quitting on themselves. And I remember even as a young girl watching the Olympics. That's when everybody watched the Olympics, right? Back in the 70s and 60s, maybe, I don't know. And the bronze, silver, and gold medalists would be, right, given their medals. And I remember watching that. And I'm like, yay, that's great. But you know what I really want to know is, what did it take to get on this podium? to get your bronze, to get your silver, and to get your gold. That has always interested me. And so when I work with people, one of the main things I tell them, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I was filled with doubt and fear. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was good enough. It took me 7 years to really enter into this profession. I went to school in 91 and really began. I made a decision in 97. It's now or never. And if it's now, then make it non-negotiable. That nothing or no one will get in my way of accomplishing what I want to accomplish. And I didn't even know what I wanted to accomplish. I really didn't. I wasn't one with clear goals and a clear vision, but I had a trust in my heart, in my intuition, and my gut. And I knew I didn't want to work for anybody else.
I think it's
And
one of the.
then it all came about. You know, the doors begin to open when we're on our right path. Doors just begin to open, and that's part of my passion, working with the younger people in this profession, or newer people, you know, is my story. If I can do it, you can do it, but you can't give up on yourself. And you got to do some practical things like turn the TV off and some other things, right? And simple things that I teach.
Right.
And again, going back to dancing, Mark, right? You could stay home tonight and watch TV, right?
Yeah,
But you decided not to a while back. And so I guess if I could share 3 things you need to know is trust and follow your gut and intuition, and make whatever you decide non-negotiable. That's one of my favorite words. Just make it non-negotiable. That way it's easier, because then you don't have to think about and let excuses get in your way, or other people's, how should I say, plan for your life, right? Get in your way. Nothing or no one will get in your way, and you never give up on yourself. And then the third one is really working with doubt and fear and believing in yourself. Believing in yourself. And
As a person been in business, where do you? 2 things I want to say is the first thing is the things you're talking about is personal development. Where do you place that in your folio of offerings, helping people better understand? Do you offer help and coaching in the mindset, what it takes?
Yeah, I part of the I studied with Bob Proctor now almost 8-9 years ago, and I became a consultant for his company, Proctor Gallagher Institute. So I mentor and coach people in really 4 things: mindset, understanding our limiting, our paradigms, our habits that we've been in repetition since we were little kids, right? And some work well and some don't work at all. And then the cost of fear and the gift of faith. And then how to take care of yourself. So I coach on that realm too. Make it easy, but make it, I don't want to use the word tough, non-negotiable. I mean, that's one of the first things I ask my clients, my students. Tell me your why. How bad do you want this? How bad do you want this? Because then we got something to work with. And if they're wishy-washy, then we find it inside of them, because it's in there. It's in there. Just have to find it.
Yeah, so part of your formula in recommending anybody out there, no matter what their business is get clear on your thinking and seek out the resources and coaches that can help you see yourself, your fullest potential, so you can believe and be.
Yes.
And one thing that myself being also certified with Bob Proctor as well, is he talks about the big goals, the big things that you want in life. I call them your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're clear on the vision, it's tied with the emotional attachment, your why. And something that you said, when you get clear on your vision, purpose, and why, life becomes easeful, not easy, but it helps you determine what's going to support the outcome. And
Mm-hmm.
I like what you say all the time. People say, I don't know what I want. But you start out, and I learned from you, is you know what you don't want. I encourage people to get clear on know what you don't want. Then it makes it easy to figure out what you do want. Becomes clear. You know that you don't want, you knew you didn't want to work for somebody. That was crystal clear, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That goes back to the non-negotiable. You
Yeah.
recognize that you were psychologically unemployable and you wanted to control everything.
I've
I'm in
heard
the
that
same
a
boat.
lot.
Isn't that a great statement? Psychologically unemployable. Yeah, Tom, thanks for bringing that up. That is, yeah.
We have some comments here. Maybe you might want to address it. One of the comments was about getting massage.
Yeah, it
He's
says,
a
I'm
weightlifter.
curious about a massage story. It happened because at the time, and for 27 years, lifting weights was a thing. The muscles on my back were too thick for her. It was still relaxing, and it says continue. So evidently, I was going to ask, like when massage it, that's a lot with the hands and I've often wondered, how long can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned you're not new at this, so
Mm-hmm.
do you run into, I don't want to say health issues, but physicality? Is there sometimes where you know you're feeling a little drained, and like with your hands since you're working on people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mark, that's a great question and a common one. My clients even asked me that. Cass, do you ever get tired? I mean, you've been, in this profession for so
Right,
long.
right.
And usually the public has a kind of a narrow view of massage, that it's very tough and you use your
Mhm,
elbows and
mhm.
forearms and it's really hard work. My work was never like that. My work is quite gentle. So the physicality of my work isn't like many therapists,
I
but
see.
yet it is physical. It is physical. I get more drained emotionally. Um, and that's where self-care um, is a must. And that's part of what I teach too, is caring for ourselves, not just the typical, eat right, get enough sleep and exercise, but other, which are very important, but yeah, self-care. But I think in our profession too, well, I hear practitioners after 2 or 3 years are tired. They're
Really?
tired and they want to, oh yeah, yes. And those are the ones I really like to work with. Um, but I'd like to share maybe, and I don't know if we're going to be closing soon, but this has kind of sums up a lot what I've been talking about. And I use this in my coaching, my mentoring, and just in conversation. I am grateful I have the privilege of working end of life. I have had so many experiences that have taught me how to live. And one of them I hold in my back pocket a lot is the reflective mirror. And we can do this even now in our life, right? The older we get, the path is a little longer and a little longer, right? When we look in that reflective mirror. And my question to myself and to my
Some
students.
call it the accountability mirror, but yeah, because it doesn't lie. Uh, I can tell you a story about that if you ever think you're overweight, but I had a guy, well, just real quick, he said, if you ever think that you're not overweight, put a paper bag over your head, get naked, put 2 slits in the eyes, opening so you can breathe. And if you like what you see, great. And if you don't, guess what? And that was kind of a unique way of, and I think we all have to be honest with ourselves, right? I mean, and that's what you were talking about.
Well, yes, and the reflective mirror is really our life experiences, our
Sure,
journey,
sure.
right? And the older we get, the longer that journey path looks, right?
Right.
But my two favorite questions after I invite people, share them this story a little bit, and then say, think of a reflective mirror and you're looking at it. And the reflective mirror is a reflection of your life. Your life, not mine, but yours. What do you want to see? And who do you want to see? Not who, boy, I want to go, I want to see my father that died, right? I can't wait to see him. That's not what I'm talking about. It's you. Who do you want to see when you look at yourself in that reflective mirror? A grumpy old person, right? One that was bitter or angry or ungrateful or quit on yourself.
Right.
Or one that was whatever your values are, kind, gracious, grateful, and you never quit on yourself.
Right.
What do you want to see? And sometimes that's where we start in our work because it wakes people up to the reality of our life and the shortness of our life. And how do we really want to live? Wonder and curiosity and contemplation and asking questions is good. My students always say, Kathy, for teaching ethics, you never tell us what to do. You always ask questions. I says, yeah. I says, because you've got the answer. I'll tell you the answer if you want it, but otherwise the answer lies within you. So the reflective mirror, so maybe that touches some people in your audience, is sit with that for a day, for an hour, for a weekend, and decide what you really want to see and who you want to see, and then frame your life around that and make that non-negotiable if it's important to you. So when I think of elevate your profits, I think of two sides, the MSIs and the adjunct therapies and right, increasing income, right? So which creates longevity in one's vocation. But on the other side of that is really the study of self. The study of self. And how do you make all this work for you? How do you make all this work for you so you can live a life that you love? You love getting up in the morning and going to work. You're grateful. It gives you deep meaning and purpose.
Right.
And we know not a whole lot, there's not, everybody hates Monday, or a lot of people hate Mondays and can't wait till Fridays. And I don't know, I don't want to live my life like that. So I tell my students, I'd eat beans and rice for however long it took, but I'm not going to work for somebody else. I'm going to do the work I love. So, and making money brings freedom and lessens stress.
Yeah.
So this whole platform tonight, Kath, we've covered a lot of different things, and the things that it's obvious why you've had success in your career, and what she's done is principles that if you apply in your current business, no matter what it is, you'll have longevity. You'll be able to take your gift and keep it in the marketplace. That's the key. Who can you serve, and how long can you serve them? Yeah. And she recognized a number of things, is that she could only see so many people in a day. That's linear, limited income. And she recognized what would happen if I got sick or couldn't work, or circumstances outside. What could I do to stay in business? And that's staying in business is being profitable, making money. So she looked at ways she can take her gift and run parallel. So, and then understanding what you want or don't want in your life is so critical.
Yeah.
So you threw a lot of good stuff out there, Kath, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. I'm blessed to have you in my life and in my businesses because you gave a lot of clarity to me as well. So I just encourage anybody that's out there is
this comment I kept up because Kathy talked about it. It says, not alone as long as I know the why and stay on the path. The rest will take care of itself. And
exactly.
that comes from Mr. Robert Brooker. That's pretty profound, but that's awesome. And I think you're spot on. That's why I like listening to you, Kathy. There's like a calm. If I was going to go into massage therapy, I'd be afraid to screw up because you are so, what's the word I'm looking for? You're like a sage in that industry and you've been there, and I wouldn't want to come to class unprepared, and that's just because you're such a giving person that's the way, when I'm around people like that, it's like, hey, I gotta live up to my end of the deal because they're giving themselves and teaching me and helping me, and I think listening to you and everybody else, things I've picked up since I got to get on this crazy thing and we got online and doing all this. I never would even thought I'd be live streaming, but it's something my dad told me. When someone takes time to talk to you, even if they're, giving you a butt chewing, whatever it is, if you've been in the military, there's a reason they're doing that. And don't take it so personal because they see something in you and they want to get that out. Could be a coach in sports.
Yes.
It could be a business associate. Maybe their demeanor's not where you'd like it to be, but they're not being mean so much as to say, hey, you can do this. And I think sometimes some, not all, get a little sensitive about that. And, they want it sugar coated, and sometimes that doesn't always work,
Yeah. Well, Mark, as my dad said, sometimes you just need a good kick in the butt.
Yeah.
A wake-up call, right?
I just think about, and the reason I ask you that, people coming into your industry, I'm sure it's competitive, but man, there's so many tools and things and ways you can learn out there that, and to be around someone like yourself and your associate, I don't see how you can fail, that's just me, but it's kind of what I do every day. No one wants to get on the phone and make calls. And I kiddingly told someone, yeah, you've been waiting to talk to me all day, haven't you? And they're like, who is this? But you got to make it fun. And I think we all take ourselves way too serious.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What I would like to do, Mark, if we don't mind, and Kath, is I encourage anybody out there that's working with people in an intimate environment, get this book. It's important for who you show up as ethically is what this book's about. Great book. You can find out more about it by going to ethicaldimensions.com. You can get the book there. And the next thing is Kathy with her business partner. Anybody that's in the holistic health arena, it's not just massage therapists. Her and her business partner, Susan Ecker, are launching. When is your launch date?
In a couple weeks. In a couple weeks. The last Wednesday of the month, we're going to do a online kind of introduction launch to our business.
So share this out. Anybody that wants to learn about what their offerings are with New Business Dimensions, please reach out to them. The link is below, newbusinessdimensions.org, and you'll find out what they're offering. So,
Tom, can I close with this?
Sure. I was going to ask what a closing
Mark,
thought.
can I close with this?
Oh, absolutely, please.
Okay. I never was one much to share personal things for many, many years with students. And through other people, I found out that personal stories are rich. And they usually teach more than what a book teaches. So this is part of non-negotiation and never quit on yourself. The past probably couple weeks, I wanted to quit a couple things that I was heading toward. And I was giving myself all these excuses. And I was convincing myself that maybe whatever. So this morning, I'm on the treadmill, and I happened to come upon this song. This man was singing that I was watching, to dream the impossible dream.
Yes.
We all know it. And I listened to it 2 or 3 times. Had tears in my eyes while I'm, and I knew deep down too, this is exactly what I needed. And it changed my whole day, my energy, and I'm back on track. And so I share this because you never know where how the gifts come about. The mirror, the reminders of this is your work. Don't quit. Go dream the impossible dream. Or whatever your song is.
That's true.
So maybe some of you would like to listen to that song tonight before you go to bed. Not just listen to it, but feel it in your body. So Mark and Tom, thanks for inviting me on tonight. It's always a joy to hang out with you.
For giving up your time to do that, Mm-hmm. And please keep Tom in line,
I will.
That's a challenge, Mark.
Oh, it always is,
Good.
Yeah, someone once told me, I think it was my dad. He says, "Yeah, you'll find out that it's all when I first got married. Just understand one thing: there will be differences here because you're 2 different beings, and it isn't always going to be like this." And
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
We're going to be talking a little bit here. Mark and I are going to wrap it up here, and you're free to jump off, Kathy, if you'd like. Just hit the red button up there, the red X.
Okay.
If you'd like.
Okay, great. All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks again for sharing.
Bye-bye.
She turned her camera off, so she's still here. But anyway, I was excited to have her on today because she's been a very successful entrepreneur, and she walks her talk. She teaches it.
Right.
And she's helping people fulfill their goals and dreams by example. So no matter what your business out there, whether you desire to go into business, know what you don't want, be clear on, trust your instinct, find that thing you have a passion for is what she was talking about.
Right.
And then when you're in it, in that avocation or in that business, utilizing your gift, find those things that run parallel to create multiple streams of income so that you have at least 3 legs to stand on. A 3-legged stool is always more stable than 1 leg. Would you agree, Mark, or 2 legs?
Oh, absolutely.
So there's been times of the economy shifts in the industry or whatever, because she had other things going. If any disruptions, it was just a minor thing. It wasn't a devastating. So that's sort of the message why we wanted to bring Kathy in. It doesn't make any difference what your industry is. Having multiple streams of income is so important. And I encourage anybody that's looking for an opportunity to understand that we've been talking about the last several weeks about network marketing, and that's a great business vehicle. If you find that thing you're passionate about, there's plenty of great companies out there, but ASEA fills my passion and my purpose, and it is going to give us and our business that third and fourth leg to give us stability and build residual income, which is another key element. We didn't expand on that much, but that's the key, is you build something once and it continues to pay you year after year after year. That's what we really want, so that Kathy talked about having freedom, that when you go, if you took a day off, you don't have to worry about where the next paycheck comes from. That's a very significant thing for any business, that it's running without you. It's making money without you. That's a critical thing. So, Mark, anything else you'd like to say?
No, I thought what Kathy offered tonight was spot on. I needed to hear it. It was very good.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to say tonight, Mark? Then we'll shut out with one of our corporate sponsors.
I think people are starting to figure out where we're at out there. So the YouTubers were coming on board, and our friends on Facebook. I guess that's still we'll figure that out at some point too, since we're using the Hive here to produce this event. Be connected.
Well, we'll close it out tonight. Join us next week. Hopefully we'll have a new guest. If not, we'll have a topic to work on. But this is our corporate sponsor, ASEA. I'm going to play it out and we'll wrap it up here, Mark, okay?
That's outstanding. Thank you.